Hello everyone, welcome to this video lecture of this course Heat Transfer. So this is the continuation of the module Boiling and Condensation Heat Transfer. So in the last lecture, we have discussed the boiling heat transfer in details, which is actually a phase change from liquid to vapor state. So there we have seen the different classification of boiling heat transfer, which are the cool boiling, then subcooled boiling, saturated boiling, forced convection boiling, all these things. So after that, we have discussed the boiling curve for water in details. So there we have seen the concept of nucleate boiling, film boiling, what is the burnout point or critical heat flux. So all these things have been discussed in the last lecture. So today we will discuss the condensation heat transfer in details. So the concept of this condensation heat transfer, then the classification of this condensation heat transfer like the film and dropwise condensation, the difference in between them, all these things will be discussed today in this lecture. And after that we will study the derivation of the laminar condensation. So in case of a flat plate on a vertical plate. Okay, so the derivation regarding the flat plate in case of this condensation heat transfer, that will be discussed in details. So let us start this lecture. So first we will discuss the concept of the condensation heat transfer. So in thermodynamics we have studied the different phase change in case of this boiling and condensation, all these things. So this condensation, it actually occurs when the temperature of a vapor is reduced below its saturation temperature. So, and as the vapor condenses, then in that case the latent heat, it is liberated and there is heat flow to the surface. So what is this condensation actually? So it is actually the reverse of that boiling process. So what happened in case of this boiling, that this boiling, it was a phase change from liquid to vapor state. So this condensation, it is actually the reverse of this boiling. That means from vapor to liquid state, phase change will be there. So what happens that whenever a saturation vapor, it comes in contact with a surface whose temperature is lower than the saturation temperature corresponding to the vapor pressure. So in that case the condensation heat transfer takes place. So let me tell again that concept, that whenever a saturation vapor comes in contact with a surface, what type of surface? The temperature of that surface, it will be lower than the saturation temperature corresponding to the vapor pressure. So in such cases the condensation heat transfer, it takes place. And when this vapor gets condensed, so in that case the latent heat is liberated and there is the heat flow to the surface. Now the liquid condensate, it may get somewhat subcooled by contact with the cooled surface, and it may eventually cause more vapor to condense on the exposed surface or upon the previously formed condensate. So this is the main concept of this condensation heat transfer. Now depending upon the condition of the cool surface, this condensation may occur in two possible ways. So what are this classification of this condensation? One is the film condensation and another is the dropwise condensation. Now let us discuss in details the difference in between this film condensation and dropwise condensation. So in this diagram we can see, in case of the film condensation, a liquid film is there over the surface. Means the condensate wets the surface and it forms a liquid film. So that's why the name is the film condensation. But what happens in case of the dropwise condensation? So from the name itself we can say that the condensate vapor, it forms the droplets on the surface. So in this diagram we can see some liquid droplets are there. So from these droplets, this name is there, that is dropwise condensation. So that is the main difference in between this film and dropwise condensation. So in case of this film condensation, the condensate, it forms a liquid film, but in case of the dropwise condensation, the condensed vapor forms the droplets on the surface. Now in case of this film condensation, the surface is blanketed by a liquid film which serves as a resistance to heat transfer. Due to the formation of this liquid film above the surface, there will be resistance to the heat transfer. But what happens in case of this dropwise condensation? The droplets, it slides down when they reach a certain size, and that's why the no liquid film is there, because there are droplets, and so no liquid film, and that's why there is no resistance to the heat transfer. Now what happens as there is no resistance to heat transfer? So due to that, heat transfer rates that are more than 10 times larger than with film condensation, it can be achieved. So that is another main difference in between the film and dropwise condensation. As there is a liquid film above the surface in case of the film condensation, so that means there is a resistance to the heat transfer, but in case of the dropwise condensation, there is no liquid film. We can see there are some droplets above the surface, and that's why there is no resistance to heat transfer, and due to that the heat transfer rates are 10 times larger than the film condensation. So these are the difference in between the film and dropwise condensation. So basically what happens in case of this film condensation? Now if the condensate tends to wet the surface and thereby forms a liquid film, so then this process, it is known as the film condensation. So the heat from the vapor to the cooling medium is transferred through the film of the condensate formed on this surface. The liquid flows down the cooling surface under the action of gravity, and the layer continuously grows in thickness because of newly condensing vapors. So, so this is the way by which the thickness grows in case of the film condensation. Now this continuous film, it offers that thermal resistance and checks further transfer of heat between the vapor and the surface. So due to this formation of the liquid film above the surface, the resistance to heat transfer, it is there. But in case of this dropwise condensation, the vapor condenses into small liquid droplets of various sizes which fall down the surface in random manner. Now these drops, or these vapor drops, that form in cracks and pits on the surface. After that they grow in size and they break away from the surface, and then they knock off the other droplets and eventually run off the surface. So that's why they run off the surface without forming a film under the influence of gravity. So this thing can be seen in this diagram also, and no liquid film occurs there and some droplets are formed. So this is the concept and the difference in between the film condensation and dropwise condensation. So this dropwise condensation again we will discuss at the end of this slide in details. Now let us discuss the film condensation on a vertical plate. So in this diagram, in the right hand side, we can see that the thickness of this film condensation, it grows. So the liquid film starts forming at the top of the plate and flows downward under the influence of gravity. So the d, it increases in the flow direction of x. Heat in the amount hfg is released during condensation and is transferred through the film to the plate surface. Then Ts, that is the surface temperature, it must be below the saturation temperature for condensation. So that is from the concept of condensation heat transfer we can say this, but the temperature of the condensate is T saturated at the interface and decreases gradually to T surface at the wall. So these are the phenomena which happens in case of the film condensation on a vertical plate. And the temperature and velocity profile we can see in this diagram in case of this film condensation. So this type of temperature and velocity profile we have studied when we have discussed the boundary layer concept in details. Now this is the vertical plate in case of the flow regimes depending on the Reynolds number. So earlier we have discussed different kinds of dimensionless parameter and their significances. So this dimensionless parameter controlling the transition between the regimes is the Reynolds number. So this Reynolds number, it is defined here as the hydraulic diameter multiplied by rho u divided by mu. So this is from the concept of Reynolds number. We have seen that the Reynolds number, it is the ratio of inertia force to viscous force, and the formula of this Reynolds number, it is rho u d by mu. So this here also this d, it is represented as the hydraulic diameter, that is the dh, which is the 4 delta. Now based on the different values of the Reynolds number, we can say that whether the flow regimes, these are laminar or turbulent or in between these two. So when this Reynolds number value, it is less than 30, starting from 0 to less than 30, then this flow characteristics, this is laminar. That means there is no wave formation there, so it is wave free. So it can be seen in this diagram also. Up to the Reynolds number value of 30, the flow regime, it is of laminar. After that, when this Reynolds number value, it is 30 to 1800, then this flow characteristics, these are wavy laminar. That means it is not totally turbulent or not totally laminar also. Some laminar characteristics are there, but it is of wavy nature also, like a transition zone. After that, when the Reynolds number value, it is greater than 1800, in that case the flow regime, it is totally turbulent. Okay, so you can see in this diagram also that when the Reynolds number value it is beyond 1800, then the flow regime characteristics, these are of turbulent nature, and this Reynolds number it increases in the flow direction. Now we will discuss the laminar film condensation on a vertical plate in details. Some different formula and the derivation we will see now. So in this diagram we can see the formation of film condensation on a flat vertical plate. Now this analysis from this film-wise condensation on a vertical plate can be made on lines prepared by Nusselt. Now this Nusselt number we have discussed earlier, and the physical significance is also known to us. Now, unless the velocity of the vapor is very high or the liquid film is very thick, the motion of the condensate would be laminar. And the thickness of this condensate film, it will be a function of the rate of condensation of vapor and the rate at which the condensate is removed from the surface. So these are the things upon which the thickness of the condensate film depends. Now in this film condensation on a vertical plate, there are different assumptions that we need to consider for the derivation of the different formulas associated with it. What are those assumptions? That both the plate and the vapor are maintained at constant temperatures of T surface and T saturated respectively, and the temperature across the liquid film it varies linearly. So this is the first assumption that we need to consider. In the heat transfer across the liquid film is by pure conduction. The velocity of the vapor is low or zero so that it exerts no drag on the condensate. So that means no viscous shear on the liquid vapor interface. The flow of the condensate is laminar, that is the Reynolds number is less than 30, which we have seen, we have discussed earlier. Means when the Reynolds number value is less than 30 in case of the flow regime, then it is considered as laminar, that is wave free, and the properties of the liquid are constant. And the acceleration of the condensate layer is negligible. And these are the different notations that we will use in this derivation, that is rho L is the density of the liquid film, rho V it is the density of the vapor, HFG it is the latent heat of condensation, and K it is the conductivity of the liquid film, mu equals to the absolute viscosity of liquid film, Ts it is the surface temperature, and Tsat that is the saturation temperature of vapor at prevailing pressure. So these notations will be used in the next slides. So first we will see the formula for the velocity distribution in case of the film condensation on a flat vertical plate. So to find an expression for the velocity distribution U as a function of distance y from the wall surface, so we will first consider an equilibrium between gravity and viscous forces on an elementary volume, that is b dx dy of the liquid film. So in this earlier diagram we can see that one elementary volume has been considered and which has been shown by zooming in. So in this elementary volume you can see that b dx and dy, these are the bed thickness which has been considered for this elementary volume. Now the force balance and mass and heat balance, these two things are shown here in this diagram. that is in the left side in case of the force balance, what will be in case of the left side of this elementary volume, and the expression in this right side of this elementary volume, considering the viscous shear force on this element and considering the gravitational force on this element. These are written here. So in case of the gravitational force on the element in between the two different surfaces, so in case of the liquid and vapor film actually, so the gravitational force on the element, it will be rho Lg multiplied by b dx dy minus rho Vg multiplied by b dx dy. So this is the gravitational force on the element. Next, if we consider the viscous shear force on the element, so in that case the viscous shear force on the element, it will be mu du dy multiplied by b dx minus mu du dy plus mu d2u dy2 dy multiplied by b dx. So these are the two different equations considering the gravitational force and viscous shear force on the elementary volume of the liquid film, which we have considered in case of this film condensation on this vertical plate. Now if we equate this 1 and 2, these two different equations, that is the gravitational force and viscous shear force on this elementary volume, so in that case, after rearranging these equations, we will get the expression of d2u dy2, this is equals to minus rho L minus rho V into G divided by mu. So that is equation number 9.16, which we are getting equating the gravitational force and viscous shear force on this elementary volume. If we integrate this equation, then we will get du dy, this is equals to minus rho L minus rho V into G by mu to y plus C1, that is one integration constant we are getting. Now if we again integrate this equation, then we will get the representation of u, but two different integration constant, that is C1 and C2, we will be getting here. Now as we need to find the expression velocity distribution, that is u here, so that means we need to consider the boundary conditions, and based on those boundary conditions we need to find the value of C1 and C2 here. What are those boundary conditions here? So at y equals to 0, small u equals to 0, and at y equals to delta du dy, this is 0. So this concept of considering these boundary conditions we have studied in case of the boundary layer concept. Now if we use these boundary conditions, then after certain steps we will get the value of C1 and C2. So the value of the C1 and C2 we are getting here, that C2 equals to 0 and C1 is rho L minus rho V into G delta divided by mu. Now if we substitute these two values of C1 and C2 in the earlier expression of u, it is in this expression of u, now we need to put the value of C1 and C2. Then after certain steps we are getting the value of u, that is the velocity distribution we are getting as equation number 9.18. So this equation number 9.18, that is the expression of u, this is the required velocity profile. Now if we need to find the expression for the mean flow velocity, that is u mean of the liquid film at a distance of y, then we need to use this expression, that is um, this is equals to 1 by delta integration 0 to delta u dy. Now here in this expression we need to put the value of small u that we have that we have considered and we have found out in terms of the velocity profile. Now we need to put this value here in this expression of u, and after certain steps if we do this integration and within the limit 0 to delta, then we will get the representation of the mean flow velocity um. This is equals to rho l minus rho v into g delta square divided by 3 mu. So that is the expression of mean flow velocity. Next we need to find the expression of the mass flow rate. Now the mass flow rate of the condensate through any exposition of the film is given by the mass flow rate. This is equals to the mean flow velocity into flow area into density. So this is the formula of the mass flow rate. If we in this formula, if we put the value of the mean flow velocity that we have discussed in the earlier slide, the flow area will be B into delta, that is the breadth into thickness, and the density for this liquid film, it is rho L. So that means we are getting the expression of the mass flow rate as equation number 9.20. So this mass flow, it is a function of x, because the film thickness delta, it is essentially dependent upon the x. Now as the flow proceeds from x to x plus dx, the film grows from delta to delta plus d delta because of additional condensate. So from the concept of film condensation, we know this part, the formation of additional condensate. Now the mass of condensate added between x and x plus dx can be worked out by differentiating this equation of the mass flow rate with respect to x or delta. So that means we are getting this expression of dm equals to ddx of this rho l into rho l minus rho v g b delta q divided by 3 mu into dx. That is, we have entered the expression of this mass flow rate from equation number 9.20 here. If we do this differentiation here, then after some steps we are getting the expression of dm, that is the expression of the mass flow rate, that is rho l into rho l minus rho v gb delta square by mu into d delta. It is equation number 9.21, that is the expression of the mass flow rate we are getting here. Next we need to find the expression of the heat flux. So the heat flow into the film dq equals to the rate of energy released due to condensation at the surface. Now the formula of this heat flow rate, that is dq equals to hfg into dm. So the expression of the dm, it has been found in the earlier slide. So from that slide we need to enter this expression of the dm here. It is the mass flow rate. So according to our assumption that we have considered earlier, the heat transfer across the condensate layer is by pure conduction. So that means if we use the concept of the Fourier's law, then dq equals to k into b dx by delta into T saturated minus T surface. If we combine these two different equations, 9.22 and 9.23, then we are getting this expression that is in terms of the del cube into d delta. So to find the value of the delta, we need to do the integration here. So, and after doing the integration, we need to use the boundary condition to find the value of the integration constant, that is c1. So that boundary condition, it will be at x equals to 0, delta equals to 0. That means at the start there was no thickness of this film condensation, so that means delta will be 0. So if we put this boundary condition, then we are getting the mathematical representation of the heat film thickness as equation number 9.24. So what we are getting here, that the heat film thickness, it increases at the fourth root of the distance down the surface. The increase is rather rapid at the upper end of the vertical surface and slows thereafter. So this is the equation number 9.24 that we have found here using the boundary condition, and it is the representation of the heat film thickness, that is delta. So next we need to find the formula of the film heat transfer coefficient. Now according to Nusselt assumption, the heat flow from the vapor to the surface is by conduction through the liquid film. So that means dq equals to kb dx by delta into T saturated minus T surface. Now the heat flow can also be expressed like equation number 2, that is dq equals to hx into b dx into the temperature difference, where hx is the local heat transfer coefficient, so which is similar to the Newton's law of cooling. If we equate these two, then we are getting the value of the local heat transfer coefficient hx equals to k by delta. So this 9.25 number equation, it represents that at a definite point on the heat transfer surface, the film coefficient, local heat transfer coefficient or film coefficient hx, it is directly proportional to the thermal conductivity k and inversely proportional to the film thickness delta at that point. Now if we put this value of delta here in this equation 9.25, then we are getting the expression of hx as equation number 9.26. Now the local heat transfer coefficient at the lower end of the plate, that is at x equals to L, we can find by using this equation number 9.27. So in this derivation here we have seen the formation of the local heat transfer coefficient, and at the lower end of the plate also we have seen its representation. So that means the rate of condensation heat transfer, it is higher at the upper end of the plate than compared to the lower end of the plate. Now the average value of heat transfer can be obtained by integrating the local value of the coefficient, film heat transfer coefficient, that is h bar equals to 1 by L integration 0 to L hx dx. Now here if we put the value of the local heat transfer coefficient hx, then after certain steps we need to do the integration, and within that limit 0 to L. So after several steps we will get the average value of heat transfer coefficient, that is h bar equals to 4 by 3 HL. So it can be also represented as 4 by 3 k by delta L. So where HL is the local heat transfer coefficient at the lower edge of the plate. So this representation shows that the average heat transfer coefficient, it is 4 by 3 times the local heat transfer coefficient at the trailing edge of the plate. Now if we put the value of the HL here, then we are getting the equation number 9.29, which is the representation of the average heat transfer coefficient. So again, the Nusselt solution derived above, it is an approximation one, because experimental results have shown that it yields results which are approximately 20% lower than the measured values. So McAdams proposed to use a value of 1.13 in place of the coefficient 0.943. So this is the McAdams representation, that is the equation number 9.30. So using this above equation, that is equation number 9.30, all liquid properties are to be evaluated at the temperature, and T saturated plus Ts by 2 and HFG should be evaluated at T saturated. The total heat transfer to the surface is Q equals to HA into temperature difference, and the total condensation rate M equals to Q by HFG. So these two formulas, these are very much important to solve the numericals. This is equation number 9.31 and equation number 9.32. Now here you can see the graphical representation of the film thickness and film coefficient versus the plate height, and in the right hand side you can see the condensation on an inclined surface. So what are these three? These two pictures, that equation figure 9.8, it shows the variation of film thickness and film coefficient with plate height. So in this diagram, figure 9.8, it shows the variation of the film thickness and film coefficient. These two diagrams, this has been shown by Aaron here. These are the variation of the film thickness and film coefficient with plate height. Now the film thickness, it increases with the increase of plate height. You can see from this diagram. The heat transfer rate, it decreases with the increase of plate height, since thermal resistance increases with the film thickness. So we have seen while discussing the concept of the film condensation that the thermal heat transfer, it decreases. So from this diagram also again we can see this concept. In case of the inclined flat plate surface, the gravitational acceleration g, it is replaced by g sine theta. Where theta is the angle between the surface and the horizontal. So you can see from this diagram 9.9 also. Now the equation for the h inclined, that is the film coefficient in case of this inclined plate surface, it can be represented like this, where instead of g we have put the term g sine theta. So that means h inclined, this is h vertical into sine theta to the power 1/4. So this equation 9.34, it is applicable only when the theta is very small, and it is not applicable for horizontal plate. So these are some representation of the velocity distribution, then mass flow rate, then film heat transfer coefficient, then heat flux in case of the laminar film condensation on a vertical plate. Now earlier we have discussed the concept of film and dropwise condensation and the difference in between these two. Now let us discuss this dropwise condensation in details again. So one of the most effective mechanism of heat transfer is the dropwise condensation. It is extremely large heat transfer coefficient can be achieved compared to the film condensation. So what happens in case of this dropwise condensation? The vapor condenses into small liquid droplets of various sizes. Those condensate vapor, they fall down the surface in random fashion, which you can see in this diagram also. In different shape and size, they are falling down the surface, those droplets. Now these small droplets grow as a result of continued condensation. They coalesce into large droplets and slide down when they reach a certain size. So what happens, these drops form in the cracks and pits on the surface. They grow in size because of the continued condensation, and they break away from the surface. They knock off the other droplets and eventually run off the surface. That means without forming a film under the influence of gravity, these droplets, they slide down when they reach a certain size due to the continuous condensation. Now large heat transfer coefficients enable designers to achieve a specified heat transfer rate with a smaller surface area. Now in case of this dropwise condensation, a large portion of the area actually of the solid surface is directly exposed to the vapor without an insulating film of condensate liquid. So what happens? This represents a higher heat transfer rate. Now this dropwise condensation has been observed to occur either on the highly polished surfaces or on surfaces contaminated with impurities like fatty acid and organic compounds. Now, although this dropwise condensation be preferred to filmwise condensation, yet it is extremely difficult to achieve or maintain. Okay. So it is also written here that the challenge in dropwise condensation is not to achieve it, but rather to sustain it for prolonged periods of time. So why it is difficult to achieve or maintain for the prolonged period of time, the sustain of this dropwise condensation, it is difficult. So because most surfaces become wetted after being exposed to condensing vapors over a period of time. Now this dropwise condensation, it can be obtained under controlled conditions with the help of certain additives to the condensate. Okay, so this dropwise condensation, these are obtained under controlled conditions with the help of certain additives to the condensate and various surface coatings. But the commercial viability is not yet been approved. So for this reason, the condensing equipment in use is designed on the basis of film condensation. So this is the reason that because most surfaces become wetted after being exposed to condensing vapors over a period of time. So to sustain it for prolonged period of time, it is very much challenging. So this dropwise condensation has been studied experimentally for a number of surface fluid combinations. Griffith recommends the same correlations for dropwise condensation of steam on copper surfaces. So H dropwise, you can see when the saturated temperature is 22 degrees centigrade to 100 degrees centigrade, then the representation of H dropwise, it is 51,104 plus 2044 T saturated, and when the T saturated value is greater than 100 degrees centigrade, then the H dropwise, it is 2,55,310. So these were the concept and the difference in between the classification of condensation heat transfer, which are film condensation and dropwise condensation. We have seen the formation of the film condensation, which resists the heat transfer, but in case of the dropwise condensation, the heat transfer rate, it is 10 times higher than the film condensation because there is no formation of film, rather the droplets are formed and it slides down during the course of time. So after that, we have discussed the laminar film condensation on a vertical plate and different mathematical representation in terms of the velocity distribution or heat flux or mass flow rate. All these things we have seen. So in the next lecture, we will discuss the different formula related to the nucleate pool boiling, the critical heat flux or burnout state, and based on all those formula, we will discuss different numericals based on the boiling heat transfer. So this is the end for this lecture.